Hi everyone, how are you doing? In this video I want to talk about the latest development in podcasting world, the biggest news from last week. Hi, it's Mike here. In this series of videos I'm talking podcasting news and what's happening in podcast industry. So if you enjoy it, you can hit the like button. Let's get to it. So the biggest story of last week, as reported by Variety, was another big buy by Spotify. And Dax Shepard, his show and his network are moving exclusively to Spotify. Now he's got a podcast called Armchair Expert, and beginning of July 1st, 2021, they're moving exclusively to Spotify, and it's a similar deal to what Spotify signed with Joe Rogan, so it's kind of licensing deal, probably multi-year. Now, Armchair Expert is a weekly podcast, and it debuted in 2018, so it's not like a 10-year-old show. And it features in-depth interviews, celebrities, artists, authors, and experts. When we look at Forbes, they are presuming that this will mean a sizable payday for this podcast superstar. And his show, the Armchair Expert, which started in 2018, became a huge success. So it was the 9th most listened show on Apple Podcasts in 2020. And it's got estimated monthly audience of more than 20 million. And that helped to earn him $9 million in 2019. And if we look at this article from Forbes as well, he was number 4, the sort of most paid podcaster. Now his live shows are also a hit with an average audience of 4,000. When we scroll down, basing on these numbers, they are saying the deal may be easily in a $50 million range. Now, you have to take it with a grain of salt, basing on only these numbers, especially when it comes to just ad dollars. But we don't know if that Spotify deal includes everything else what he's doing, so his live shows, some other business ventures, I presume, but also his network is moving over. It's called Armchair Umbrella, and as you can see, it's mostly spin-offs of his main show, so other shows when he sort of interviews people as well. So not bad. It seems that the Spotify's investment and buyouts work, because they continue to do so, and they continue invest in these big talents, big podcasters. What of course is the long-term strategy, at least that's what people think, is that Spotify is set to surpass Apple in listenership this year and then achieve an edge over the next few years. They are of course saying that's because business is exploding and it's expected to more than double in ad sales to $2 billion by 2023, and that's according to PwC as well as IAB. I want to talk a bit about that, because when you look at these numbers, and I got a couple of articles, podcasting will surpass $2 billion, and we have a graph how this ad spending is gonna grow. That's from eMarketer, and we got another one from Caspia Consultancy, and they say the same, podcasting will surpass $2 billion by 2023. And it sounds like a huge number, like, the business going good, the podcasting exploding is the next huge thing out there. However, what I want to talk about and then ask you to think about is how this number compare to other industries, other mediums, and other content and their revenues when we look at ad spend. And in my opinion, the closest one would be radio, right? Now, when we look from Statista at radio advertising expenditures, and that's in billion US dollars, we see that in 2019 it was 34 billion, and then it fell to 30, and they say that's because of coronavirus. But in 2021 it's expected to be over $30 billion. So when we go to a calculator and assume that $2 billion in podcasting and $30 billion in radio. And what's that percentage is? It's 6.6%. So, you got all these articles saying podcasting is so huge and exploding, but in reality it's only 6.6% of radio advertising. And I'm not even talking about Facebook ad revenue, which was $84 billion in 2020, or YouTube, which was, $20 billion. So 10 times more. And that was 2020. And as you can see, YouTube is growing as well. So it will also grow. In 2023, it will be more than $20 billion. That's what I want to sort of talk about a bit. I'll probably make more in-depth video as well about it when we dive into these numbers, because I'm glad they report podcasting and how fast it's growing and all that, but in my opinion it's still a niche, it's still a really tiny space, and we shouldn't be over exaggerating and overstating how big it actually is. But saying all that, in my opinion, this is a great thing, because it still means in a small space there is huge opportunity for growth, and huge opportunities for independent podcasters to start a show, build it up over a few years, and just like Dax Shepard, maybe sign with Spotify, maybe sign with somebody else. But he's done really, really well, and he's only started like 3 years ago. And I know he's a Hollywood actor and so on, but still, it just shows this kind of success is still possible, as opposed to in radio and even in YouTube it becomes very, very difficult to do the same. But yeah, that's what I want to say in this video. I'm doing normal sort of podcasting tutorials and audio tutorials once a week, and then this kind of series we look at latest development and news, and I do them whenever I feel that something worth talking about happened. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe, and I will see you later.